Hello, everybody. I'm More Gravity. Let's review some chess. This chess game I finished about 5 minutes ago. Started about, I don't know, maybe 25 minutes ago, something like that. And I think it demonstrates uh, an important way that black can challenge early on. Oh, no. Well, yes. Yeah, that's right. So I played the Scandinavian Defense. This is one of the. This has got to be the quickest way for black to challenge uh, opening of e4 by white. Right off the bat, there's tension in the center. And usually I've seen white capture. The most common line here is white takes, queen takes, then we see knight c3 developing with tempo, and then the queen can move to either a5 or d8. A check at e5 is also possible and not very recommended. In this position, I will usually return my queen to d8 and be glad to have kind of an open game, an open board, and open game, even if white has a lead in development. Alright, but that's not how this game went. Instead, we had, instead we saw white develop knight to c3, which is book, and I think black gains an advantage early on here with d4. Simply booting the knight, and where's he gonna go? Some of these squares, more aggressive, don't look all that healthy for the white knight. And back on e2, isn't he blocking in his own knight squared bishop and his own queen? So with that in mind, this type of block in mind, I decided to play e5 right away and have a really strong center. It could lead towards a closed game, which is fine. It could lead towards a lot of things, but the point being, if white is cramped on move 3, black can, in this case, make it even worse. And white is just very cramped on his home rank. Knight f3 is a fine move, challenging the base of black's current pawn chain. Knight c6, simply developing and supporting e5 against the white knight in f3. And c3. This is a type of move you want to repair something that's bugging you, right? Let's go. Here we are as white. Get rid of that barrel. This would bug me too as white. If I'm looking at this, I say, yeah, my knight's out. One not so great. We got to get rid of this pawn duo that black has in the center. So you think sometimes the way to do that is just to do it and to do it and to do it and see what's done when it's done, rather than overthinking things and losing too much time, or making a move like maybe even d3 kind of locks in black's central superiority, even if it frees white's dark squared bishop up for some kind of an attack. So I like my opponent's line of thought here on a grand scale, on a strategic way. c3 is the way to go. And it looks like d3 by black just really puts the hammer to white's position. I didn't find it. Stockfish finds it here. And that's part of the reason why this is a mistake instead of an inaccuracy. Because indeed, pawn move to d3 is just very stifling against white. White will have difficulty. I would say if there's some way, or I don't know how to wave a magic wand, but that pawn to d3 weren't allowed there, then c3 is not as bad. Black still has aggressive options like a beginning a pawn storm with pawn to g5. What did I choose? I chose bishop to g4. No reason. That's a bad move on my part. This is a miss. I mean, I probably missed something. I missed d3 quite directly. That's what that's commenting on or commenting about. I played this move, bishop g4. It's kind of a natural move to play in this type of position. But why? Why more gravity? Why? The light squared bishop already has many great options available. You don't have to hurry things with bishop to g4. Yeah, you might get doubled pawns on the king side and such, but if you can't force doubled pawns in most of your games by giving up the minor exchange, then I wouldn't have played all those games I've played to get to where I am now. Better move than like I said, d3 or even g5 is probably going to be marked as a inaccuracy, maybe even a mistake. So, bishop to g4 was a miss, but not a horrible one. So my opponent captures on d4. Now ideas of d3 for black are gone. Yeah, I thought I'd trade off central knights and have a lot of mobility available for my bishop and my queen and my other bishop. My knight once developed. I thought that knight d4 here would be good. Really a good way for black to trade off white's only strong piece. I say only because the knight at e2 is going to be pinned to his queen soon enough. So I'm not sure that this is such a horrible mistake as Stockfish would indicate, as this computer would indicate. I was maybe better off capturing on f3 and doubling those pawns like I probably intended when moving there. That's strange. I changed my mind on that for some reason. Here even knight takes d4. Capturing on f3. And then knight takes d4 for black. We're threatening checkmate. When, a move like a3 and knight takes f3 is checkmate, smothered mate early on. White won't let that happen, but it's still interesting that a threat like that would emerge this early is kind of cool, I'd say. Kind of interesting, yeah. My opponent captured on d4. I captured back with the knight, even though it was not the strongest move. More captures on the d file, and white's slightly better. So it has some development and developed pawn. I don't know if I really say that white's better here. Well, the engine has it as such, but black can play d3 at a moment's notice and find this thematic move that's been suggested over and over that is suggested I need to understand hemming in my opponent's forces with an advanced pawn better. Black has that. He has this pin going for him. I think black's doing all right here, to be honest. Now for the queen trade. And down a pawn. And that's probably why Stockfish is saying here, as well as back here, that white is doing better, because I'm going to lose this central pawn now. Castle's queen side is okay. Note that the bishop, like we discussed yesterday, the bishop here with 2 squares in between him and the knight, my opponent's knight, that is, my opponent's knight on d4, the bishop is dominating the knight. I mean, you could say, too, that the knight is dominating the bishop. But not so much, really. It's normally seen that the bishop is faring better for his side in this type of situation than the knight is faring for his side in this same situation. White's knight is cut off from all his aggressive moves. Black's bishop is not. Knight f5. I play into this move and hoping for an attack. This is the type of attack that means my opponent has to play accurately to stay in the game. It's almost like when Mikhail Tal said there's no such thing as a sound sacrifice. What he's talking about is if you're going to sacrifice a piece, it's not sound to do so. If it were sound to do so, it would just be direct play. This isn't quite that yet. Well, I guess I'm sacrificing the pawn on g7, right? This is a sacrifice. I'm at least proffering a sacrifice. If my opponent captures on g7, rook takes e4 check, and we're winning the bishop, or the bishop's coming back to e2, where he'll have a difficult time escaping a pin. So, anyway, I'm in favor of this move, rook to e1. Also setting up the potential of bishop at d7 captures on f5, utilizing the pin on the pawn to go up a minor piece in material. And so when my opponent plays d3, she or they are missing my capture on f5. Now I'm up, instead of down a pawn, I'm up 2 points of material and ahead a piece, however you want to play it or say it. And there's just a little bit of consolidating to do. I think I did rather nicely in this game. Pour the exchange onto things, and black is winning by way of simplification. All right. And the accuracy on this game is rather high. Oh, well, accuracy in this game is, say, rather high. It was high enough. I felt that neither my opponent nor I played poorly, and I'm glad to have won the game. So that's all for now, my friends. Thank you for watching. I'm More Gravity. Have a great lunch.